Please give this video a like and subscribe!
This is HBR News number 544. Rebel Wilson weaponizes Me Too radical kids, where we discuss the news of the week and give it the Badger treatment. Maybe I should have called it like radicalizing kids or witch kids. I don't know. But hello, everybody, and welcome back to Honey Badger Radio. I hope you guys are enjoying your week thus far, and happy St. Patrick's Day to any of you all out there. I have altered the screen to celebrate the season.
Sláinte to you all.
Aaron Gobra, whatever. What do the Irish actually say? In the States, we just see it as an excuse to get drunk. But I know that St. Patrick's Day is actually a lot more serious for actual Irish folks. So I don't mean to disrespect
That's called
y'all.
Tuesday in Ireland, son.
I think it also depends on which side of the divide between Christianity and paganism you're on, because pagans, if they know the history, they absolutely hate St. Patrick's Day.
Oh. Well, it can be a yes and. That's generally how Orthodoxy works. It's a yes and.
Yep.
If you have a pagan tradition, it will actually sit nicely within the Christian framework.
The snakes, there were no snakes in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's
That's because they were driven out, Hannah.
Yeah. The snakes refers to the pagans for people who didn't understand.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so happy St. Patrick's Day and happy Women's History Month. Yes, that's going on, and you're probably going to hear a lot about women this month if you're not more than normal, which is saying something. But welcome to the HBR News Show, where we discuss the news of the week and give it the Badger treatment. My name is Brian. I'm here with Dr. Ranamercam and Hannah Wallen.
Hello.
Normally I talk over you guys, so I thought I would give a pause so that you can jump in and say hello. All right, so so anyway, we're going to talk about on this week's HBR News Show. We have a bunch of kind of wild stories. There was some recent audio leaks, like a hot mic leak or something, that suggested that Rebel Wilson or her team, Rebel Wilson is an actress, tried to destroy someone's life with a false allegation, and which we'll get into. A couple of teen girls tried to engage in ritualistic murder in order to resurrect Adam Lanza. Yes, that happened, and more. So stick around; it's going to be a good time. And be sure to join us afterwards for the patron-only show. So we're going to basically pick up from where we left off. We got about halfway through this article, which is why is Paramount hiring so many men with troubled pasts? And I thought we could just, try to finish it off. I mean, it depends. It might take another week, but it is interesting to see. I sort of mentioned this. Imagine yourself as a Hollywood executive before the Me Too movement happened, and you were riding high on the hog. Most of your films were successful. You had like a committed and a dedicated audience for a lot of your properties, especially if you were a company like Warner Brothers, which had so many, IPs under its belt, so many things that it owned. And then the Me Too movement comes, and like a crimson tidal wave, it just went through and got a bunch of men canceled and fired. And then the studios ended up giving those jobs to women and like other activist types, and they produced nothing but garbage for like 10 years. And then you had COVID, and then you had the actors strike happened, and you are an executive and you're like, we have to do something. We have to like make money. What do we do? And somebody's like, well, we're going to have to hire those dudes that we got rid of. And they're like, oh man, we got to make money. And you have to like tell people, yeah, I'm sorry, but those guys that you canceled because, they like made a comment that you didn't like, or maybe they took you out on a date, but they didn't call the second day or whatever. Yeah, we're gonna have to
Or
bring them
on
back.
completely made up complaints
Yeah, or
that
just
didn't ever really happen.
So, you know, like, and now you're just like, you just have to like deal with your bottom line. And so just saying, just something to think about. Imagine you're in that position. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be in those shoes because they're going to come after you too. Probably because you did that. But anyway, we're going to read the rest of this article, Why is Paramount Hiring So Many Men with Troubled Past, in the Patreon show. If you want to join us for that, you have to become a Badger yourself by going to feedthebadger.com. $5 a month will get you into our Discord server where you'll be able to watch all the additional content. If you give it higher levels, you can even be in the conversation yourself. So please consider becoming a member. Feedthebadger.com/subscribe, or just go feedthebadger.com and follow the links. And if you don't want to wake up one morning to find that our content has been yeeted from the internet and our presence has been erased and we've been snatched up and black-bagged by Mossad or whatever, then go to badgerfeed.com or honeybadgerradio.com to find where our content lives. So at the very least, while we're being waterboarded, you'll be able to watch our content. And we appreciate that. So anyway, with that said, let us get into today's stories. All right. So first we have, let me just grab my thing here. We have a little bit of a story, which, it's got some potential, but the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, in England and Wales has issued new guidance in March 2026 classifying male circumcision as a potentially harmful practice when performed in unsafe conditions or without adhering to proper medical guidelines. So no, not on its own, like as a practice, only under certain circumstances. Like if it's like done by, some guy, Habibi, in the alley somewhere out of the back of his pickup truck, that's something that they're going to classify as potentially harmful, not the practice of circumcision itself writ large. But anyway, this marks a shift, I guess, as the guidance includes circumcision for the first time in documents related to offenses against the person, instructing prosecutors to consider child abuse charging standards in relevant cases. However, the CPS explicitly affirms that non-therapeutic circumcision remains a legal practice with significant religious importance for Jewish and Muslim communities, and it is not equated to offenses like female genital mutilation, which has specific criminal prohibitions. Earlier draft versions from January of 2026 suggested it may, quote, be a form of child abuse, end quote, if done incorrectly, as opposed to correctly, sparking debate and concerns from religious groups about potential stigma or overreach. The updated final guidance dropped stronger language, labeling it as possible child abuse, following consultations and backlash, particularly after incidents like the death of a baby from complications in a community procedure, prompting coroner calls for better safeguards. Groups like the National Secular Society welcome the inclusion as progress toward addressing risks in unregulated settings, while Jewish and Muslim organizations express relief that religious circumcision, Brit Milah or Khitan, is protected and not criminalized outright. The change does not alter the legality of the procedure itself, but aims to guide prosecutions in cases of negligence or harm amid ongoing discussions about regulation of non-medical circumcisions.
Yeah, I don't want to piss on anyone's parade, but to me, this doesn't really sound like a shift. It's being classified as potentially harmful practice.
Oh, Mike's breaking up. You're breaking up really bad, Mike.
Without adhering to proper medical guidelines.
How's is your internet giving you trouble?
Internet's bad.
Yeah. Are you?
It is. Yeah. Am I?
You're still audible.
Am I still breaking? Am I still breaking up?
Okay. Not
You're
right
still
now.
audible. You're audible.
All right. Well. Okay. Good. So it's being classified as potentially harmful practice performed in unsafe conditions or without adhering to proper medical guidelines. That not already the case?
Mike, I'm sorry, you're breaking up really bad. Like it's like lag. There's like a delay.
So what's been going on?
Maybe Are you at home? Maybe you need to.
Have people been doing it in upturned
Oh,
I don't think he can hear you either.
yeah. I think it's a delay.
dumpsters with a rusty teaspoon?
He's
The
still like
bits that we can
ranting.
hear, though,
And until
are
now, the
fabulous.
Crown Prosecution Service just don't leave the foreskin lying around. Oh dear. I can hear you just fine.
Okay,
just
you got to
apparently
listen to
there's a-
this when
yeah.
you when it's rendered out, 'cause it's
Mike, could you? I know that there's a delay between what I'm saying and when you hear it, but could you try to? I don't know if you need to reboot your router, and I'll let Hannah give her thoughts while you're doing that, and then after Hannah's done, you can go ahead and give your thoughts.
so for starters, I think the bits that came through on what Mike
Okay.
was saying are perfect. Just saying, and it's an excellent point. That this is a procedure that is potentially dangerous every time it's done, regardless of whether it's under ideal medical circumstances or in a back alley out of the back of somebody's pickup truck with the foreskin being left around on the ground for somebody else to stumble across. 100 babies a year die from this in the United States because somebody did it in a perfectly normal setting for doing it and then did something wrong, in addition to the fact that they were cutting perfectly useful, perfectly healthy, perfectly normal body part off of a child for no reason, right? And in particular, there is one style of the procedure that has resulted in numerous babies being infected with the lip herpes virus, which it doesn't. It's bad and it sounds bad, but it doesn't sound as bad as it is. It's when a child is in infancy during the time frame that circumcision is usually done, newborn. The blood-brain barrier that keeps things that are in your bloodstream that aren't supposed to get into your brain and be absorbed by any cells, any neurons or anything. That isn't properly formed yet. It's not done cooking. And so any infection, common cold, anything, like, it's dangerous for the child and can be deadly. And this is something that I know because when I'd just given birth to my son and we were both dehydrated, the symptoms of being a little bit dehydrated in an infant are extreme. There's no a little bit anything for a newborn. And they thought he might have meningitis, and they did a spinal tap. Right? And the thing that they were really worried about was that the blood-brain barrier was not fully formed, that he may die from it. And that's what happens with babies that get infected with lip herpes from one certain particular method of doing this procedure. But even if you eliminated that entirely, there are babies that bleed to death from it. There are babies that get infections and they die days or weeks or months later, and the cause of death is just recorded as infection, until you dig into the case and you find out the infection was on the genitalia as a result of the circumcision. And this is like the ADA doesn't publicize that there's this many deaths every year from circumcision. They don't go around telling people. You have to get that information from intactivist organizations, right? And then, of course, people are like, well, the source is bad, therefore the information, we don't have to acknowledge that the information is true, even though the source actually is their source, not they're the messenger. So it is a potentially harmful practice in all cases. Every time it is done to a newborn, it's potentially harmful. Every time it's done to a child, it's potentially harmful. Every time it's done to an adult, any surgery is potentially harmful. But at least they can prosecute people who are trying to do it outside of medical circumstances, because if that many are dying under medical circumstances, imagine how many are dying when it's done in a religious institution or in somebody's home. Right? It's insane. And of course, religious groups got it knocked down from abusive to potentially harmful. You know, you can't very well go around having it acknowledged that taking away a child's bodily autonomy before they've even said their first word is abusive, because you wouldn't be able to impose your religion on them before they're old enough to make any type of covenant with God. Seems a little hinky. In the meantime, it is a good baby step, though, that they have actually acknowledged that it is non-therapeutic. Like, to me, that's a big deal, because in America, they don't acknowledge that it's non-therapeutic. They pretend that there is a medical reason to do this, and they don't just sell it to parents. They do the sleazy salesman hard sell, where not only do they suggest that the procedure has therapeutic value, but they try to guilt trip you into it. They try to convince you that you're not taking proper care of your child if you don't opt into this procedure, and if you don't believe in the therapeutic value that they are claiming that it has. That your child is going to get AIDS and die if you don't cut off part of his dick. Like, that is then if you don't sign a consent form because of that, I know at least one hospital where they try to misdirect you into signing consent by accident. And I wonder how many people they've gotten that way. So it's very clearly not an honest industry. Makes quite a bit of money. Doesn't benefit anybody except for the people that are making the money, and does absolutely nothing for the child. I'd call that abusive, personally. I think it's not even potential. It's just abusive. But I'm at least glad that they can notice that it's non-therapeutic, and that it had to come out that it was religious groups that pressured them into changing it from potentially abusive to potentially harmful.
Yeah, and for the record, it is uniquely, in terms of religious practices, being the reason, or the religious reason, is primarily a Jewish and Muslim thing, not a Christian thing. And the reason why it's so normalized in the States is because it is seen as a medical thing that was sort of like pushed in there culturally. We've talked about it on the show before. Like St. Paul has written about how circumcision is the old law, and therefore not you're not supposed to circumcise your kid. If you are circumcised, is okay, but he said it's not a requirement.
Yeah,
So
it was
most of the circumcision that happens in the States, some Christians think it is Christian, but they're following the a different well, I'll just say it's not in line with the real the real word, the real New Testament
They're
stuff. They think it's a
misinterpreting.
holdover, but
They're
I think
misinterpreting.
they're misinterpreting it. But most of the circumcision that happens in the States is to sort of, Christians and non-Muslims and Jews is actually more coming out of like a medical, let's say, prescription, which is unfounded. So it's got nothing to do with religion, unless again, if you're Muslim or Jewish, which is why circumcision is like, it's the primary obstacle to like banning it. It's not even the sort of cultural or medical part. It is the religious part. Like there's a lot of, they'll cry religious discrimination, and there's often struggles. We've had lots of stories on this channel that we've covered over the years where, you get like to the point where it's pretty close to getting at least recognized as something that is not good, that could potentially be banned somewhere down the line, and then the lawyers come out and they argue religious freedom and stuff like that. So it is an obstacle, but I'm just pointing out to be specific that where it's coming from, which is why the article references specifically Muslim and Jewish. I would assume Muslim more than Jewish, just because of the number of Muslims that live in the UK now. But yeah, anyway. So Mike, how's your thing?
Well, you both sound very clear to me.
You sound good, yeah.
Clear to you. Okay, good. If I cover any ground that you've already covered, bear with me. So if anyone wasn't paying attention, you might say at least someone's finally come around to making it illegal to just ruthlessly mutilate a baby boy anywhere with any instrument for any reason. But if you look closely, you'll see there's no mention of legality. It has been, quote, classified as potentially harmful. Now, what does that mean in practice? Nothing. You can take a cheese grater to a child's penis in a sink full of battery acid, and you can claim this is not harmful. It's not even potentially harmful. And the CPS isn't going to stop you, let alone arrest you. They'll just go, actually, according to our records, it is classified as at least potentially harmful. Nevertheless, carry on. Keep doing it. But it's not classified as having specific criminal prohibitions like FGM is. Like, even if a surgeon in a sterilized operating theater so much as accidentally nicks a grown woman's inner thigh with a safety pin, it's straight to jail. Can newborn baby boys get any protection of that sort? No, not even close. Not even looking into it. Not now, not ever, not never, no how. Doesn't matter if he's in a hospital or a home or strapped to a slab on an Aztec fucking pyramid. Anyone, anywhere can still do whatever the fuck they like to his dick. And yes, you could bet your bottom cotton socks that a syphilitic rabbi can still put a boy's penis in his mouth and bite off the foreskin while sucking up the blood with his herpes-ridden hair lips. I am not making this up. There's a well-known Jewish tradition called Mezitza Bipe. It regularly causes babies to die from the resultant infection. Look it up if you like. I wouldn't recommend it. And of course, the government is officially declaring this may be a form of child abuse. Okay, yes, I concur. Are you going to ban it? Are you going to arrest people for doing it? No. We can confirm that it's child abuse, but we're still not going to do anything about it. That's worse. You know that's worse, right? We're still in that flowchart, that infamous memed flowchart. You know the one. It's not happening. It's a right-wing conspiracy theory. It's happening, but it's a good thing. It's happening, and it's a fucking horrific thing, but we just don't give a shit. Go fuck yourselves. You are here. See, that's a point we'll never get to when it comes to Muslim grooming gangs raping girls, by the way. We're never getting beyond the realm of it's not happening / it's a right-wing conspiracy theory. Hey, you know they're raping boys as well, right? Oh, yeah, we know that. We know that. Of course they're raping boys. It's nonsense. It's straight-up child torture of the most unforgivable kind. And we're going to officially classify it as tut, we don't recommend that, and we would like to wag our fingers in your general direction, but if we did that, we'd get arrested for hate speech. I fucking hate it in this country. Have I said that lately? It's still the biggest item on my agenda. Iran, Epstein, what about all the things that are being hidden? I don't give a shit. My country is being run by barbarians and butchers, and they're not even hiding it. They don't have to hide it. They are butchering children out in the open and nobody fucking cares. So kindly miss me with anything else. Please and thank you.
You're welcome and thank you. All right. So we got some. Oh, by the way, now I know why your internet was like screwing up. They were trying to silence you, Mike.
It's what it sounded like. That's why I was laughing, because it was like,
yeah,
it sounded like they were cutting off all the parts that didn't sound like a old man ranting.
yeah. It was almost like bleeping, but instead of bleeps, there was just silence. Okay, so Meredith G, thank you, Meredith, gives us $5 super chow and says HBR News 544, honey for the badgers, appreciate it. And let me give a shout out to the people in the vertical chat. Libra Wolf, Sam's 356, you're safer from STDs if you're cut, not true. And Weena 0811 said hello. So yeah, you're telling pork pies, as they say in England. Okay, so let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're gonna move on to the next story. This one's kind of weird. Okay, so leaked audio. This is Rebel Wilson. She's a comedian, I think. Leaked audio obtained by The Hollywood Reporter in March of 2026 has revealed discussions by Rebel Wilson's crisis public relations team about orchestrating a smear campaign against Amanda Ghost, that's her name, the producer of Wilson's directorial debut film, The Deb. In the recording, digital fixer Jed Wallace reportedly instructed a top entertainment publicist on creating anonymous websites accusing Ghost of sex trafficking, including portraying her as a Hollywood madam, soliciting women for a billionaire. The plans emphasize needing something really, really heavy to be effective, rather than milder criticisms. This surfaced amid an ongoing multi-year legal feud stemming from Wilson's 2024 public accusations against the film's producers, including Ghost, that's the producer, Gregor Cameron, and Vince Holden, for alleged embezzlement, inappropriate behavior, and burying the movie's release. The revelations emerged in court filings tied to a defamation lawsuit filed by the producers against Wilson in 2024, which they initiated shortly after her claims. Ghost's legal team, including attorney Camille Vasquez, has submitted evidence alleging Wilson's involvement in the smear efforts, escalating the countersuits and cross allegations. Wilson has denied direct responsibility, and the PR operatives have pushed back against the characterizations. The dispute has kept The Deb unreleased, drawing widespread media attention to the bitter Hollywood battle involving accusations of misconduct, defamation, and now alleged coordinated reputational attacks. And this seems like drama, but these are like very serious allegations. I have here, I'm going to play the sound clip. We have a soundbite this from The Hollywood Reporter. It's about a minute long, so let's give this a listen. This is basically the recording that leaked.
Oh, also, talked about Rebel. Like, here's the deal with Rebel, and I think you, me, and Brian, and maybe Katie, since she'll write this thing. What we have to do is the biggest piece here is that we have to connect Amanda Ghost with Vlotnik. And I was just like, so basically what we need to do is we need to create a path where we expose Amanda Ghost as like the new Heidi Fleiss. Like she masquerades as the reason why she sucks so bad at music is because she's actually getting hookers for Vlotnik, right? And that's what she does. She's an absolute madam, and that's why she's so lethal, blah, blah, blah. But he's right. Like, we can't just do like, oh, she's a bitch, she sucks. It's like, it's gotta be really, really heavy and connected to something that heavy. So we'll talk about that tomorrow too.
So it almost sounds like they're like coming up with a concept for like a movie plot, but this is what they did. This is the claim. They're trying to destroy this woman's reputation because of some disagreement, and they're using like allegations of like, you know, human trafficking. But anyway, that's it. I don't know. Like, I'll let you guys speak on this if you want to.
The fact that this was caught on a hot microphone definitely saved somebody's butt and put somebody's butt in the fryer. And the only question is how much did this chick know? And I'm gonna be honest, I had completely forgotten that Rebel Wilson existed. I hadn't thought of her or heard anything about her or any of her music or anything for years, now that I think about it. And that's probably why she was trying to figure out a way to make herself more relevant, and to use allegations to win whatever argument she was having. But this is a whole extra level of crazy. Like, you get into an argument with someone, and you win or you lose the argument, and you move on. That's pretty normal. You get into an argument with someone, and you're angry about the result of the argument, and maybe you hold a grudge. That can be pretty normal too, right? I've seen a lot of people hold grudges. I've been the target of a few grudges by people who have lost arguments to me. And then there's a level above that where if the argument's on social media, you stalk the person on social media. Stalk is in scare quotes there. I know you can't see me doing that, but like it's impossible to stalk someone on social media without making a bunch of accounts and really going overboard trying to override their ability to avoid being stalked, right? And you're still not showing up in person. You can maybe engage in some level of harassment by making a bunch of accounts, and whenever the person blocks you, you start using another account to contact them. I've had people do that to me after losing arguments. But like the whole level of crazy this goes beyond social media stalking, which is a little creepy, real life stalking and harassment, which is very creepy, and even engaging in like mild violence against the individual. You lose the argument and then you hit them. Still not as bad as trying to use false allegations, much less false allegations of a particularly heinous crime, to destroy someone's reputation because you lost an argument. Like, that is a level of crazy that I think only a woman could reach. And apparently she did. This is why it needs to be taken very seriously when somebody levels false allegations against another person, whether they're to police or not. Leveling false criminal allegations is a very serious act, and can destroy your reputation to the degree that goes well beyond your argument, and the individual could be ruined for life, despite being completely innocent of the thing that you said they did. Right? If you go to police with it, you could put somebody in jail for years for nothing, because they did nothing. It should be treated as equal to the types of crimes that it mimics. If you're going to police with a false allegation, you are asking them to kidnap the individual and hold them against their will while emotionally torturing them via interrogation over a crime that they didn't commit. So it should be treated as though when charging and sentencing the individual, these process crimes shouldn't be treated like they lied about whether or not they were smoking a cigarette in court because they didn't want to let their mom know. They should be treated like they conspired to kidnap and hold a person against their will and torture them. The sentence should be commensurate with that. And similarly, I think the sentence for spreading this type of allegation, this should be treated the same as if somebody tried to convince another person to commit suicide, because that is a very strongly possible end result of an innocent person being publicly smeared with something like this and people believing it and changing the way they treat that person because they believe it. It's very serious. People might think it's funny because she got caught, but imagine what life would be like for her target if A, she didn't get caught, and B, she succeeded in smearing her, or him, Amanda Ghost, her, and actually getting people on board with that smear, right? Actually getting people to respond as if that smear is true. Not even if, the jail thing, just the wrecking of the career, the loss of all friend and family connections among people that have any doubts of her innocence, that can drive someone to suicide. It's extremely dangerous. It's like Rebel Wilson should be publicly treated as if she's done something that bad, because she has. She's just lucky, and more than anything, her target is lucky that she got caught before it worked, so that it couldn't work.
Mike, I don't know if you want to say more.
No, you'll seem to have covered it. I don't know who that person is or who any of these people are. I hope justice is done and whatever. I got nothing else to add. Sorry, I'm slowly but surely drinking my way into late St. Paddy's Day. I'll get more verbose the drunker I get. So
the person she is, for people who are from outside of the United States, she is one of
Well, she's Australian,
female,
so like
yeah, that's true. Or Australia, but they were really famous here for a while. Three female singers that created a group.
No, it's not Wilson Phillips. No.
Oh no, okay.
No, Rebel Wilson. That's
right. That's right. You're right.
Wilson Phillips did have a fat girl too, but it's no. This is not. Rebel Wilson is Australian. Okay. She is an actress. She was in I don't know. She was in stuff.
Well, hell, then I've never thought of her. Then
she was in Pitch Perfect. She was in Bride Hard. She was in Bridesmaids, I guess. She was in.
Okay, there's a movie that I know.
She was in a bunch of
I actually heard
a Night at the Museum movie. She was in Cats, Jojo Rabbit.
Okay, so you named 3 titles I've heard. I haven't actually seen
the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movie.
Oh, the Ghost. She was in that.
She had a very small. It was almost like a cameo, but. Cameo only applies to people that you know. So she was like this random goth chick that got interviewed by the news, I think. And she was playing an American character, but she is Australian though. Yeah, she was in the Cats movie. Yeah,
I read the whole first half of this article thinking it was about Rachel Wilson. I'm like, this doesn't track at all.
No, I'm sorry. I guess I should have said, here's who Rebel Wilson is, but she's an actress. She was one of these funny fat actresses, but then she lost a bunch of weight.
Except that
nothing
that except for the Nicolas Cage movie, except for that movie, everything else that she's been in is stuff that maybe I've heard a few of the titles, but none of it's ever been interesting enough for me to want to watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, not Wilson Phillips though. Mike.
Yeah. Eval 7952 says she married a Waldwin brother.
I don't know who that is. You mean like a Baldwin brother? Is that
Baldwin
what you mean?
Brother, probably.
I don't know who the Waldwins are.
I don't know either, but maybe that is a reference to the Baldwins.
Yeah, she was this goth, fat goth girl in that got interviewed by the news in the Ghost Rider movie, and she basically talked about what he looked like, and that was her scene. So
Night Motorcyclist says she was more known for her weight loss journey That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I think it was it Ozempic? No, I think she may have actually worked on herself. I think that was before Ozempic.
Sorry, when I said I don't know who this person is, I should have qualified. I also don't care.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Well, if you don't know, a lot of other people don't know. Apparently, I didn't know either because I thought I had her confused with one of the
Wilson
one of
Phillips.
the Wilson Phillips girls,
Yeah.
but who I also don't find interesting. I just know that part about it because somebody made a joke about it.
Well, you just need to hold on for one
Their
more day,
music
Hannah.
sucks, but they're famous because they're the daughters of 3 very famous singers.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I've nothing else
Oh,
to say.
okay. All right, then.
Important things. Some bint from movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The important thing is that she got caught planning. Well,
no, it was her team. To be fair, it wasn't her specifically. It was her team. But
to make a false allegation in order to whatever they were. I don't
they
know
were
what
trying
they were going to accomplish with this.
Yeah, they were trying to destroy someone's career. They
for
were
being in an argument with her. Like,
yeah,
and now that I realize she's from Australia, and she's
they were trying to like figure out
she's
how to
probably a
like
feminist
basically
because
hold some power over her.
is their methodology, right? So it makes sense. If she's an Aussie feminist, that's right in line with the way that they behave.
Yeah. I was the reason why I picked this story was I was basically trying to show what the potential of a whisper network with some money and some clout and some backing looks like, and how they can collude to like do things like this, and how effective it can be. I mean, like they had it all planned out, and they had like all their ducks in a row. It was a group of them. So imagine, and it was for something I think relatively petty because there was she made accusations against them for embezzlement, alleged embezzlement, inappropriate behavior, and burying the movie's release. So it was probably over like movie business things. And they're like, oh, and they're kind of it's catty, but it's getting to like really dangerous territory in terms of false allegations. And I'm basically saying, look, this is probably, because they were so quick to do this and act in this way, this is probably normalized within the culture of show business itself, to where people are doing this kind of thing all the time. But it doesn't mean it's limited to that either. I think that this could be like in any industry. So it's just like sort of pointing out like, how commonplace it is. Because I think a lot of people that watch us are probably pretty decent people that, try to behave in an ethical way most of the time. And sometimes you lose sight of just how like immoral people can be,
This is
like
the thing. This is the thing. People might be shocked at how petty this is, but for the record, women who make false allegations, and again, I'm not saying that it was specifically her and not her team, but her team expected her to approve this, right?
Mhm.
Women who make false allegations, it is always petty. Revenge is petty. Being, not getting caught cheating on your boyfriend as a reason, it's petty. Being embarrassed that you were with a particular guy and not wanting people to know that you did that on purpose, that's petty as hell, right? That's not wanting people to see the person that you are because you're too embarrassed, but you're too lazy to try to be a better person. That's petty as fuck. I don't think there's a reason that women use false allegations to support. I don't think there's a single reason out there that is behind a woman's false allegation of sexual misconduct against a man that is not petty. This is just comically so.
Yeah. Okay. So let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. We're going to move on to the next story. Meanwhile, I did not get any super chats or super chows. Send those in, guys. We got some good stuff here. Okay, next up. This one is wild, man. All right. 2 Florida teenagers were arrested for plotting the ritualistic murder of a fellow teen in Florida last week. Of course, it was Florida. Lois Olivios Lippert on the right there, age 14, and Isabel Aurelia. No, I'm sorry. Lois Olivios Lippert is the first girl on the left at 14 years old, and Isabel Aurelia Valdez, 15 years old on the right, cracked jokes about their mugshots and becoming jail lesbians while in the back of a patrol car after being arrested. The teens were arrested after a fellow classmate reported that a student called Jimmy was plotting a grisly murder. This Jimmy turned out to be Valdez. According to the Altamonte Springs court's motion, quote, it was learned that the victim reminded Valdez of Adam Lanza, yes, the mass shooter, I think, or mass murderer, and that he believed if she killed the victim, she would have a blood bond with Adam Lanza, which would resurrect him from the dead. They were trying to practice necromancy. End quote. It would later be revealed through her violent writings and drawings that Valdez was obsessed with school shootings and school shooters. According to the prosecutors, the pair had a detailed plan about how they would ambush and kill the victim, what they would leave behind, and what they would do afterwards to complete the ritual. Both teens will be charged as adults, and both have been denied bail. No trial date has been set as of this writing. And I got a couple more things. There was a knife, like the sacrificial dagger they were going to use, was found in one of the girls' bags at school. So this confirms they were going to try and do it. And I also have a short news clip here we're going to look at. I think it's going to show them sort of like, and because they don't even know, like these girls are like 14 years old. Okay. They don't even know, it seems, like what they have done because of the way they're behaving. So let's see if this plays.
You trying to look good for your mugshot?
Oh, gonna get a mugshot?
What, we're going to jail? What do you think?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dude, I was gonna do my makeup this morning for the mugshot, but I couldn't find anything.
I'm glad I don't actually look too bad today.
I look horrible. It's over. Dude, they had me sitting there and I was so... Dude, they took away my chocolate.
No!
I was able to eat, like, a part of it, like a part of the big bar.
Oh my god.
But then that's it.
Wait, they went through his phone?
No, they're going to go through his phone. My mom's gonna be yelling at me through the phone. What are you doing? Why are you trying to kill this kid? Dude, I thought I was gonna get sent to the psych ward. That's why I was so excited about everything. I think I would be so jolly if I was going to jail.
Yeah, this is like, it creates a certain emotional ambivalence to see people laughing and joking and having the time of their lives on their way to jail for a pretty serious offense. Like, as chilling as it is to see the blank stare on the zombie meth face of your average male killer or would-be killer, it's even more sinister to see the delight, the sheer glee in this, the presumably female equivalent. It's like they're on the way to detention because of a funny prank, and yet they're gonna go get their mugshots taken, and they know it. They just don't care. Maybe they're just confident that they're gonna get away with it. Fuck, maybe they will. That'll be why modern women and girls are like this. They have no sense of urgency because they have no sense of consequence. And not just because they get away with everything, but because they very often don't get around to doing it. They get most of their thrill from talking about doing it. It's much like with the suicide thing. Like, men go through with it way more to completion, and they don't tell anyone about it. They just can't take life anymore, so they just end it quietly and efficiently. Women attempt suicide more, but the so-called attempts are just half-assed bullshit, like taking a load of pills and then calling someone. They talk about it because they want to be talked out of it. It is a cry for help. They just want confirmation that somebody cares. Men already know nobody cares, so they just, slip out of the back door and hope no one notices. And whenever you make the argument that men commit most of the suicides, you'll often hear the rebuttal, yes, but women attempt it more. And perhaps elsewhere in the conversation, you'll hear, men commit most of the crimes. They do most of the school shootings. And they'll say this with a blissful disregard of what the rebuttal might be. How many attempted murders are there from women and girls? It's a less serious crime when there's no dead body and no grieving family, so you're not going to hear about it on the news. Just like you didn't hear about this story on the news. So, consequentially speaking, such women and girls are not as dangerous as the men and boys who can shoot straight, or the persons of miscellaneous gender who could shoot straight. But, you know, the mens rea remains the same. The intention to kill will eventually result in a kill if such a person is not taken from the streets and hopefully rehabilitated. Especially when the subject in question, like these two teenage girls, when they show such a baffling, just complete lack of remorse. Not just zero remorse, negative remorse. They seem to be absolutely fucking ecstatic about their hilarious plans to ritually murder someone. Maybe they were never serious. I mean, they're clearly not serious people, even if they are genuinely murderous psychopaths. But maybe they never really intended to do anything, and they were just drawing and writing sick pictures or whatever for the fun of it. A lot of kids do that, but it still doesn't make sense that they're in the back of a cop car on their way to a police station and they're not in the least bit scared or even worried. A lot of people in Britain are arrested for posting spicy tweets, despite having no intention of doing anyone any harm. But when they're in the back of the car on their way to the station, you can bet your ass they're fucking bricking it. Because they know they could be facing up to 3 years.
Hannah,
So, yeah.
what's that background noise we got?
Is that someone's mobile? Someone's cell phone? Right. So, yeah, whatever else is going on. It's crazy how teenage girls are just floating through life with nothing on their radar, not a care in the world. This one time in London, I saw a couple of girls like wander aimlessly into the road, right into the path of a speeding car. Thankfully, the car swerved and beeped its horn, but I swear to God, they were inches away from getting just ragdolled across the pavement. And they just laughed, like instantly. They didn't even skip a beat. They didn't even like gasp or anything. They just laughed, like they'd just been told a dirty joke. And I'm stood there fuming, thinking, you nearly died just now. Your sheer blundering incompetence almost got your skeletons shattered and left you quadrispased on a life plug. And you're just, tee, ha, ha, ha. What is wrong with you? What the fuck even goes on in your brain? And does anyone doubt that when you get these girls in a conversation about gender and the plight of women and what human rights should be stripped away from men, they will insist with a straight ass face that they're scared to walk the streets? Pardon my lying eyeballs, ladies, but you don't look scared. You don't sound scared. You sound remarkably like you're laughing your fucking asses off all the way to the bank. Remember this next time you hear a Karen acting all offended. They're not offended. They're enjoying this. They're just pretending not to so they can get free shit. Bunch of scavengous fucking hyenas, the lot of you. Sick of it. Anyway.
There's a pattern that I've noticed over the years. Starting, I think I've mentioned it before. I ran into a book about a particular criminal incident. It predates the Slender Man killing attempt. This was, I think I read this in the 90s or early 2000s about a group of girls. And there were three that decided to kill the fourth one and made a whole plan. And then they executed that plan and they did kill her. and it was particularly brutal. And ever since then, I've just kind of noticed cases like this. And there is a thing that is like I've also seen it in real life, where girls go through. I don't know whether to call it a phase or an ordeal or a combination of both, and it makes them very dangerous. Um, right around junior high school age, where they either graduate from that way of thinking that you have when you're a little kid and you expect things to be true that are not true, or your line between fantasy and reality is more blurred than it should be, and they graduate to, yeah, that was fun, but now I have to deal with reality. Real life isn't that way, and this is how it is, and this is how I'm going to live. And the ones that don't graduate, like there's a percentage of them that are late bloomers, and then there's a percentage of them that just drop out of the school of the difference between fantasy and reality. And they have this magical thinking that follows them through their whole life, that they can just make shit up as they go along and it will be true because they want it to be true. And so if they want something to happen, they can create a formulaic ritual and it'll happen, even if it's ridiculous, even if it breaks all the rules of religious belief in magic, even if it breaks all the laws of physics, even if nobody else in the history of the world has ever made it actually happen. And I see these stories with girls like this a couple of times a year where one of them made up some weird thing that is as ridiculous as the idea that if you kill someone who looks like a person that's dead that you want to come back, that the dead person will come back. Like, that's complete magical thinking. Nobody in the world would really think like that unless they were completely out of their head, right? Someone like that, if they don't get whatever kind of treatment it takes to get you to make that connection, or if that treatment fails, if it doesn't work, they're going to be dangerous their whole life. They're not going to stop being dangerous in 30 years when they get out of jail. If they don't get life imprisonment, they will be dangerous when they're 96 years old, wheeling through the hallways of a nursing home. And they don't even have to develop senile dementia to be dangerous. They already don't have a grasp on reality and the difference between what is real and what is in their heads. And I mean, like, I can give you an example from me. And I have these vivid, lucid dreams, right? Where I know I'm dreaming and I can control the dream environment. And so I can violate every law of physics that exists in the dream environment because it's a dream and dream magic works. And because I'm able to do that often enough, as a kid, even though I factually knew that to get from point A to point B, you have to travel through the physical space in between, it has always, all of my life, felt like I should be able to just walk through one doorway and arrive on the other side of any other doorway anywhere I wanted to be, right? Well, just because it feels that way doesn't mean it's real. Just because I have a memory of dreaming about it doesn't mean it's real. And just because there's that desire to be able to travel that way doesn't mean that if I want to go to work, I today don't have to get my happy ass into the car and drive there. And then the reason I know the difference was because I grew up, right? I graduated from that mindset in childhood, maybe a little late, not till after I tried to touch a power line once. But from that mindset where your line between fantasy and reality is so blurred that you don't always know the difference. But these girls clearly have not. They have no clue where that line is. They have put it so far out of focus that they can't even identify different gradients within it. They're completely lost. I wonder if any of them has been raised without a dad. I wonder if any of them has had a complete lack of paternal influence, right? And I wonder if they got away with being out of touch till they planned out a murder because people don't take it seriously when girls act crazy. They think it's cute and funny. And most of the time, it's just annoying. But every so often, they turn into the most dangerous version of Florida woman that ever existed. And that's what happened here. What's really bad is because they're being tried as adults, they're more likely to end up, they'll end up in if they get convicted, which they should, based on, unless there's some evidence out that's not included in the news reports on this, they should get convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. The factor that they had purchased a weapon, which is a sentencing factor. It's considered an aggravating factor that they took a step to make the crime happen. That should be enough to convict them, and they can be imprisoned up to 30 years in prison or life imprisonment in certain cases, which in this case, because they didn't commit the murder, they probably won't get more than that. If they're dangerous for their whole lives, sometime in the future, unless things change, unless they get sent to an institution for criminally insane and get that mindset treated or identified as such a problem that they should never be let out again, they're going to be dangerous when they get back out, if they survive. So this is really scary.
Yeah, I think it says something about just how, like, I don't know, like, disconnected from reality these people can be. So
Yep.
definitely like, I don't know, man. We've definitely overprotected girls
Yeah,
to the point where they're not connected to reality, and remember, they were trying to resurrect they were trying to resurrect Adam Lanza, the mass murderer. So
when you see a boy that's this unconnected, somebody usually steps in and does something about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, they reported these two, but
no, what I mean is, like,
steps in and intervenes personally before something happens.
Because they're held more accountable when they make crazy statements or play pretend all the time like a little kid when they're in junior high.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I did get a super chow from Albatross. Thank you, Albatross. Gives us $5 and says, imagine getting murdered by a chubby, mean girl. Well, it didn't happen, but yeah. I mean,
yeah, it didn't happen this time.
Yeah.
But there have actually been several young women, teenage girls, that have been murdered by chubby, mean girls under circumstances just like this.
Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I'm going to move on to the next story. So, Cuba is in the news. And what specifically is going on with that? So, protesters in Cuba ransacked and set fire to a local Communist Party office in the central city of Moron over the weekend of the March 14th through 15th in a rare outburst of public dissent against the government. The incident followed a rally that began peacefully but turned violent, with demonstrators throwing rocks, removing documents, computers, and furniture from the building, and burning items in a bonfire amid ongoing frustration with severe economic hardships. Cuban authorities reported 5 arrests, while state media described the event as vandalism by a small group. Fiery but mostly peaceful. Let's see here. Videos and images circulated widely on social media showing the chaos, marking one of the more direct challenges to the ruling party in recent years. The protests were triggered by Cuba's deepening energy crisis, including prolonged nationwide blackouts, some lasting for days or weeks, exacerbated by a U.S. oil blockade under the Trump administration that has blocked fuel imports for months, leaving the island without sufficient petroleum. This has worsened chronic shortages of food, medicine, and basic goods, pushing the economy toward collapse after decades of U.S. sanctions. President Miguel Diaz-Canel acknowledged talks with U.S. officials to address the fuel crisis, but public anger over daily hardships has fueled mounting discontent, with some observers noting the regime's vulnerability amid these rare anti-government actions. So Mike J sent this one through, and I just thought, so basically Cuba is the people are getting sick and tired of the government as it is.
Now, wait. I'm a little confused here. Cuba's a communist country.
It
right?
is.
So,
Yes.
Well, clearly not.
we
Real
get told
communism has never
all the
been
time.
tried.
Oh yeah, well
We-
obviously not. Yeah, you're right.
Told all the time, though, that by communists, no less, that we should be switching all of our energy utilities from fossil fuels to windmills and solar power. So they didn't do that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take the advice that communists here in America have. Cuba's in a prime spot, isn't it, to get solar and wind power? Right? They actually are nicely located, and of course, hurricanes go through there. That might actually damage the windmills. But aside from that, you would think that they should be able to create some sort of system. I mean, I'm sure that their fossil fuel power plants get devastated in hurricanes. So it's 6 to 1, half dozen the other, right? Well, why can't they power their entire little country? And I can call it little because I live in Ohio. Why can't they power their entire little country on wind power and solar power? Maybe water power, right? They're kind of surrounded. Maybe they should be able to use water power. I don't get why they're having such a rough time with this. You would think if communists are right about green energy, that Cuba could be just fine. They could just use green energy. Something doesn't add up here.
Yeah.
Maybe they need men to get fossil fuels out of the ground, and maybe they need men to refine those fossil fuels, and maybe they need men to use those fossil fuels to power energy producing plants and to maintain the systems that deliver that energy. I think it's like 97% men that do that work. Maybe that's necessary. Maybe they're wrong about being able to power an entire country using green energy methods. I suppose it becomes rather questionable if Cuba can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Mike, were you gonna say something?
Yeah. What if Superman was real bear with me. What if Superman was a real person, right, with a realistic apprehension of ethics, who's trying to take stock of the geopolitical situation, trying to make moral sense of the world? He could go to any country he wanted and start blowing shit up and killing anyone he wanted. He could go to Poland and bring down the Polish government. But the Polish people would go, whoa, whoa there, Superman. We weren't complaining about anything. We don't need rescuing. What the fuck are you doing? He could move on to Austria and Czechia, and they'd say the same thing. He could move westbound into France and do the same thing. And the French would just surrender. Be a bit of a boring story on that front. You see what I mean, though? If that's what Superman did, Superman would be an asshole. It would be pretty obvious that he's just invading countries for the sake of invading them. But if Superman went to Cuba to rescue the Cubans who have been begging to be rescued for several lifetimes now, that would be sort of controversial. Some might say, what business is it of yours, Superman? Who gave you the authority to go around rescuing anyone you feel like rescuing? Who appointed you the god of rescuing? Oh, all right, when you put it like that, fair enough. I guess I'll fuck off back to Smallville and I'll take my laser energy with me. Whoa there! What do you think you're doing? Laser energy is something we need. You can't just go denying us access to your laser energy. We'll starve. This is all your fault. Wait, what? So what exactly did you need rescuing from? Well, the supervillains in charge of our country, of course. All right, well, if I give you my laser energy, the supervillainous regime in charge of your country is just going to use it supervillainously to fuck you over. So it kind of looks like damned if I do, damned if I don't. I can't be doing with your chaotic zero-sum game. I'm a busy man, and I just got a call from Venezuela. See you. No, not like that. So Superman goes to Venezuela. They're going, Superman, you have to... Oh, he's gone. He just accosted Lex Luthor and threw him in a jail cell, and now he's going about his day. How about that? So let's say Superman goes to India, and he's like, does anyone here need rescuing? No, sir, we are fine here. Are you sure? You're stood on a railway track and there's a train speeding towards you. No, it's just all good, sir. I'm just taking a selfie. Fine, whatever. And so Superman goes to Somalia. And he's like, where the hell is everybody? Like one guy left. And he's like, they've all gone to Smallville, boss. What? So Superman speeds off back to Smallville. And everyone there is going, where the hell have you been, Superman? There's goddamn Somalians everywhere. Blast these fuckers away with your laser energy. And Superman's like, sorry, I gave all my lasers to Israel. What do you expect? I'm fucking Jewish. I had no idea where that rant was going to go when I started it. It winded up sounding like the format of a joke. Needless to say, this joke was not about Superman. Hope I didn't offend anyone. Sorry, not sorry.
Kind of no fun if you don't offend anyone.
All right. We will see what you guys are saying in the chat. I did get a super chat from Serathis for 1,000 huffs. I'm just gonna say that huffs. And he says, this feels like the Danny Phantom Killer, just worse. That was referring to the old story. But yeah, so definitely interesting that we were just having a conversation about Cuba, and the Cubans apparently want to be free from their government. I wonder why. Richard BR gives us $5 and says, Greta Thunberg is calling for all to be allowed to go to Cuba for their energy supply. All right. Get their laser energy, guys. All right, anyway, let's move. Let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. Did you know this happened with Cuba? I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Let us move on to the final stories. Here's another dark teenage story that I thought was kind of wild. And it tells you a little bit about what education does, because these girls certainly were not thinking for themselves when they did this. So it's either social media or their education. A 13-year-old girl at Lucille Umbarger Middle School in Burlington, Washington, was brutally assaulted in a locker room by 2 fellow students in February of 2026, according to widely circulated video footage and reports. The attackers reportedly demanded to know if she supported President Donald Trump and ICE, then attacked her after she refused to answer or condemn the agency. So it wasn't even that she had said that she did. She just didn't want to answer the question and didn't want to condemn the agency, telling them it was none of their business. The graphic video shows the girl being punched, kicked, and beaten while on the ground with no immediate intervention from bystanders or staff visible in the clip. Police in Burlington are investigating the incident as an assault and amid heightened national tensions over immigration enforcement under the Trump administration. Some outlets like Not the Bee, Daily Wire, and PragerU have amplified the story, framing it as an example of political intolerance and violence against perceived conservative views, while highlighting the lack of mainstream media coverage. The school district has not released detailed statements on disciplinary actions, but the event has fueled online outrage over school safety, political bullying, and the politicization of student environments. And so I just wanted to add to that as well. If you're 13 years old, you don't know anything about anything. And if the idea that a woman, the reason why I picked this story is to basically highlight, like, female bullying. It's not really about what it was that caused it. I think that it reminded me a lot of what was going on when Black Lives Matter was getting off the ground back in, 2017 or whatever it was. And you had students, mostly women, young women, confronting people, demanding they answer the question if they believe Black Lives Matter or not. And if they either failed to answer up to their, their preferences or expectations, or didn't say anything at all, they would get really forceful, if not violent. Or they would ask other people, boys, to be violent on their behalf, right? And so this sort of looks like it's the same thing, and it just goes to show how easily young people, but girls in particular, are programmed to, follow whatever the current thing is. It could have been Ukraine, it could have been Palestine, but right now it's immigration. Like, it's the thing that's being pushed is immigration and anti-ICE sentiment. And it's intended, in my opinion, to keep young people, especially women, in a constant state of high vigilance and paranoia and suspicion of her fellow man about whatever the current thing is. And they are attacking each other in schools, and it's crazy. It's just, but it makes sense. This is like the weapons. They come from the lies of the media. And again, you could say that they're online too much, and maybe that's true, but I think it's probably something they're getting from their teachers. And the fact that there was no immediate disciplinary action that we know of anyway, that sort of speaks to that. But anyway, I want to know what you guys think about this one.
The fact that that they felt entitled to demand that this girl have an opinion so that they could beat her up for it tells you a lot, right? The opinion itself doesn't matter. The question they're asking also doesn't matter. What they are doing, this is an example of, do these pants make my ass look fat? Taken to the nth degree, right? They wanted to start a fight. The goal wasn't about a political opinion. The goal was they wanted to behave violently towards somebody. And they cornered this girl because she was an easy mark in the moment. And they gave themselves an excuse to be violent. And they just happened to find it convenient to use that one because it is the current popular controversy, where the current popular opinion on one side has victimhood attached to it, and the current popular opinion on the other side has morality attached to it. And that's it. It isn't really about ICE. It isn't really about left-right politics. It isn't really about any type of enforcement of unity in thought. It is about, how can I start a fight with this girl and make her the bad guy so that when I beat her up, I don't get treated like I did something wrong. And they thought it would work because it has been made popular to believe, at least in modern media and within the education system, that anyone who supports maintaining the national borders of the United States and enforcing immigration laws of any kind is the bad guy. And this is typical female relational aggression spilling over into physical aggression, which women do on a regular basis. But it's really no different than the woman who demands the guy sitting on the couch playing video games tell her whether her pants make her ass look fat. And then as soon as he gives an honest answer, whichever way he says, she accuses him of something nefarious and bullies him for the next 2 or 3 hours. In a situation like this, the only thing that you can do is be prepared for whatever fight is coming and answer, hell no, those pants don't make your ass look fat. It's just fat. Your ass is the fattest of asses. It looks fat no matter what you wear. And then let her rip. Just be ready to deal with the consequences, because there is no winning that discussion. Nothing you say is going to be right. She's in it for the fight, not for the flattery. And that's it. And unfortunately, this poor girl wasn't in a position to do that. You can see that she's not a big, strong girl. She's probably not accustomed to getting into fights with people. It's probably not her normal. And so, like I said, they picked one that was an easy mark. The really bad thing about this is school policy in a lot of schools is that when something like this happens, even if the target doesn't fight back, she will get in trouble for getting into a fight. And I know this because I had 3 kids in school. They're all graduated now, and one of them lives out of state. But that is the way schools have treated fights for years. Somebody bullies somebody else like this, and violence occurs. It doesn't matter if the individual who was the recipient of violence invited any of it or had an opportunity to get out of it. She still gets in trouble. And that's the way women operate. And that's why bullies continue to do this kind of thing, because they get the result they want. They get to engage in violence and they beat up on the other girl. They make her suffer, and then she gets in trouble for it. So they don't even have to be the only ones getting in trouble, which indicates that they're getting away with it, really, in the long run. And that's it. They get away with it. So until things change, until we get the namby-pamby feminine attitude out of the school system and start treating the aggressor as the aggressor in fights, and start treating female relational aggression the same way that we do physical fights in between boys, this is going to happen periodically. This isn't the first time we've seen a story like this, and it will not be the last. You teach your girls not to do this, and don't tolerate it from your wife or girlfriend.
Yeah,
All right.
it goes to show you, no matter how robust you think your constitution may be, it doesn't mean squat when you've fallen under mob rule, like they have in Washington State and most blue states and beyond. Not only does the First Amendment not mean squat, if you speak, you get the shit kicked out of you. But at this point, the Fifth Amendment doesn't mean squat either. If you don't speak, you get the shit kicked out of you. And if you're in a school, the Second Amendment doesn't mean shit either, because you've been trapped in an enclosed space with no such right to bear arms. Fuck it, let's go through them. Third Amendment, the one how the government can't force you to house soldiers in your private property. The government is trying to prevent foreign hostiles from occupying your homeland. And that doesn't mean shit when the mob is beating the shit out of you for being okay with that prevention. Fourth Amendment protects citizens against unreasonable searches and sieges by the government. Doesn't mean shit when the mob has decided there's no difference between citizens and non-citizens. It's all stolen land after all. Fifth, we've done that one. Sixth Amendment guarantees rights to individuals in criminal prosecutions. Doesn't mean shit if you're Derek Chauvin and the jury is being threatened by the mob. Seventh, the right to a jury trial. See above. Eighth Amendment, prohibiting the government from imposing excessive fines. Alex Jones would like a word. Ninth, constitutional rights do not supersede other unlisted rights. Well, they do if the mob says so. 10th, the one about states' rights. States don't mean shit to the mob. They get their marching orders from the legacy media, which is a monster far greater than even the federal government. 11th, you can't sue a state in a federal court without the state's consent. Yeah, see above. 12th, I love it when I get to say 12th. It's the one about the Electoral College. It doesn't mean shit when the mob can steal an election. In fact, they use the Electoral College to help them steal elections. 13th, no more slavery. Yeah. No man is ever forced by the government to give the fruits of his labor to a woman. It's not slavery. Shut up. 14th, the one that grants citizenship to anchor babies. Ding, ding. You still have that one. Congratulations. There is one amendment that the mob has not taken from you. 15th, everyone can vote regardless of their race. Yet voting doesn't mean shit when the mob can steal an election, like I said. 16th, the one about income tax. You do not have to pay income tax if you are an illegal immigrant working a dodgy job. And the mob will make sure that keeps happening. 17th, something about direct election of senators in each state. Yeah, see 15th. 18th, why, that would be prohibition, already repealed. 19th, we all know about that one, don't we? But again, your vote doesn't mean shit when the oikophobic, misandric mob has taken over. And you have the 19th to thank for that. 20th, inauguration moved from March to January. Why the fuck is that an amendment? That seems like just an administrative... Anyway, it doesn't mean shit. Voting is fake. Democracy is gay. 21st is the repeal of the 18th. These are all being repealed except the 14th. 22nd, restricting the presidency to 2 terms. Doesn't matter when you're all ruled by Israel anyway. 23rd, Washington, D.C. gets to vote. Doesn't matter. See above. 24th, no poll tax. Doesn't matter. Voting is fake and gay. See above. 25th. Everyone's talking about that one at the moment, aren't they? It's the one where the vice president can usurp the role of the president. But Kamala Harris did that in 2024, and she didn't need the 25th Amendment. It just fucking happened. So the amendment doesn't mean shit. 26th, legal voting age lowered to 18. Doesn't matter. Voting is fake, etc. 27th, something about the salaries of Congress members doesn't mean shit when they can make millions on insider trading like Nancy Pelosi. Is that all of them? Yes, I do believe it is. Congratulations, you have one amendment that is safe from the mob. The 14th, the one where non-citizens are citizens. That's right, you're just like Europe. You don't have a country, you don't have a people, you don't have a future. Everything is fake and gay, and you're all doomed. Dr. Random McCann, Mountain News, Honey Badger Radio.
All right. Well, that happened. All right. Well, that's let's see. Nobody got anything else to say. I think we're just going to go into the patron show now, and it's right on time. That'll be the end of the sausage. So, thank you guys for I'm speaking to Mike and Hannah. Thank you for your commentary. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Mike for helping out with the write-ups. And yeah, we're gonna head into the patron show now and check out this article. Why is Paramount hiring so many men with troubled past? If you want to join us for that, please go to feedthebadger.com/subscribe. $5 will give you $5 will get you into the Discord where you'll be able to watch all the additional content. If you give it higher levels, you'll be able to participate in the conversations as well. So with all that said, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we talked about in the show today, and please, please, please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on this episode of HBR News, and we will see you next Tuesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.